Two CIA agents enter a heavily guarded Iranian nuclear research facility under the cover of being IT technicians from a Swiss communications contractor. The site is isolated and tightly secured, but their cover gets them inside without resistance. While one agent distracts the guards, the other slips into the server room and quietly installs a hidden device into the facility's network lines. The device gives the CIA full access to the plant's internal systems and live surveillance feeds. As they prepare to leave, armed soldiers suddenly stop them and demand proof of what work was done.
Hey, I'm talking to you.
Oliver steps in and speaks to them calmly in their own language, trying to defuse the situation, while Tom stays silent and watches.
Hey!
Tom then pulls out his phone and demonstrates that the internet connection is now fully operational. Once the soldiers realize they can stream high-quality football without interruption, their suspicion fades and they allow the two men to leave. After reaching a safe distance from the facility, Tom contacts the CIA and confirms they are clear. With that confirmation, authorization is given to activate the malware.
Execute.
The device is set to trigger a controlled failure that will cause the entire nuclear facility to self-destruct within 12 hours. Today, we're gonna recap is 2023 action thriller movie, Kandahar. Please consider supporting this channel before we jump into the best part. Elsewhere in Iran, a British journalist named Luna Kujai receives a digital file from a CIA whistleblower. The material exposes covert CIA operations and reveals the commercial companies being used as cover for those missions. Realizing the seriousness of what she has received, Luna immediately calls a fellow reporter to discuss the contents. What she does not know is that Iranian intelligence has already been monitoring her communications, and the entire call is being intercepted. At the same time, Tom and Oliver return to their local residence. Tom calls his wife and speaks about how his work has strained his relationship with their daughter. The conversation makes it clear that the marriage is ending, and she urges him to come home soon to finalize the divorce paperwork. Tom promises he will return the next day so he does not miss his daughter's graduation. Meanwhile, at an Afghan airport, an Afghan-American man named Mohammed Daoud arrives and is stopped when his fingerprints fail to appear in the system. He calmly presents official documents explaining his purpose for entering the country. After verifying the paperwork, the officer allows him to pass. Outside the terminal, Mohammed gets into a car and receives a call from a man named Roman in Dubai. Roman confirms that Mohammed, who goes by Mo, will be working as a translator for one of his operations. In return, Roman offers him information about a woman named Nahal Hosseini, someone from Mo's past. 12 hours after the device is planted, the CIA gives the final signal to activate it.
Do they know we're in?
No, sir. We're still clean.
Do it.
From a distant vantage point, Tom watches the Iranian nuclear facility through binoculars as the operation reaches its final stage. Tom lowers the binoculars and nods quietly, knowing the mission has been completed. At the same time, Iranian military officials witness the destruction from the air and immediately begin discussing how such a breach could have happened. Colonel Farzad Asadi, already involved in monitoring a British journalist, suspects the blast is connected to foreign interference. Elsewhere, Luna is in her room, speaking on the phone, unaware that Iranian operatives are closing in. Mid-conversation, armed men burst in, restrain her, and seize all her electronic devices. She is abducted and taken away for interrogation. Farzad questions her about the file she received from the CIA whistleblower and presses her to explain who might be responsible for the sabotage.
I'm not a spy.
I know you're not a spy.
Then why am I here?
2 days ago, an American named James Vincent sent you information about my country's nuclear program. And now one of our nuclear plants has been sabotaged. Tell me about the company you were researching.
Luna explains her theory that foreign contractors working near government facilities could be involved, but she cannot name the operatives themselves. Convinced she knows more than she is admitting, Farzad orders her detained.
Wait, please believe me. You said I could go home.
You will, as a martyr.
The next day, Tom prepares to leave Iran and return home. Before departing, he instructs Oliver to destroy anything that could link them to the operation. Unbeknownst to Tom, Iranian special forces have already moved in. With their covers blown, Tom heads to the airport, expecting to finally leave Iran and return home. While waiting to board his flight to London, news of the destroyed facility begins circulating more widely, and the atmosphere shifts. His flight is suddenly delayed without a clear explanation. With time to kill, Tom buys a small gift for his daughter, intending to give it to her when he gets home. Not long after, he receives a message from his CIA handler, Roman, asking him to meet in Dubai. Tom makes his way to Roman's residence, a lavish mansion filled with music, guests, and excess. Roman presents himself as a wealthy Dubai socialite, a public persona that hides how deeply uncomfortable he is with that lifestyle. Once they are alone, Tom demands to know why his flight was delayed. Roman admits he arranged it deliberately to force this meeting. He explains that there is another operation that needs to be handled immediately and offers Tom a highly lucrative contract. Tom initially refuses, insisting he is done and wants to go home. Roman presses him, explaining that a sensitive mission is unfolding in Afghanistan, specifically in Herat. After some hesitation, Tom agrees to hear him out. Roman tells him that once in Afghanistan, he will need a local translator to navigate the region safely. That translator will be Muhammad, the man Tom will soon be relying on to survive what comes next.
What's the cover story?
There isn't one. It's black through and through. You're on your own.
Tom arrives in Afghanistan and meets Mo, who has been assigned as his translator. As they drive into Herat, Mo talks casually about the city while Tom listens and takes in his surroundings. The tone shifts when they pass two dead bodies hanging from a crane in public view. Mo dryly welcomes Tom to Afghanistan, making it clear this place operates under its own brutal rules. They reach their hideout, where Tom opens the supply packages sent for the mission. Inside are military-grade tools and weapons. The sight of them makes Mo uneasy, and he asks Tom directly what the job really is. Tom avoids giving a clear answer at first and asks Mo to call Roman instead, but Mo refuses, not wanting to upset him. Later that night, without telling Tom, Mo sneaks out to meet an old friend, Nahal Hossein. The two catch up, and Mo explains he came to Herat looking for his wife's sister, a teacher who went missing. Nahal warns him that the Taliban have been kidnapping female teachers in the area. Mo asks her to leave with him and go to the United States, but she refuses, choosing to stay and continue helping her people. Afterward, Mo visits a graveyard and mourns those he lost during the war, including his young son, whose death still weighs heavily on him. The next day, news breaks that the CIA was behind the destruction of the Iranian nuclear facility, and the identities of the operatives involved are exposed. Roman calls Tom immediately and tells him his cover is completely blown. He also delivers worse news. Oliver has been found and killed by Farzad. Tom now has no time left. Roman orders him to abort the mission and leave immediately. At the same time, Farzad is already in Herat after being tipped off about Tom's location. He informs the Iranian military colonel, who authorizes a team to capture Tom and deliver him alive. Meanwhile, in Pakistan, the intelligence director receives the same information and contacts Kahil Nasser. Kahil is ordered to go to Herat, capture the American operative before the Iranians do, and sell him to the highest bidder. Back at the hideout, Mo returns to find Tom burning their remaining trash and equipment. Tom tells him they need to leave immediately and head to Kandahar because their cover is gone. Unaware that both Iranian forces and Pakistani intelligence are already closing in, Tom and Mo prepare to move, knowing that once they leave, there will be no turning back. Farzad and his men wait patiently, watching for Tom and Mo to make their move. At the same time, Kahil begins mobilizing his own contacts. He reaches out to Rasul, a Taliban leader, and promises him greater power within the Taliban Military Council in exchange for help capturing the American. With both sides preparing, Tom and Mo finally leave Herat in an SUV, unaware that their route is already being monitored live from CIA headquarters. Farzad's team follows them almost immediately. Sensing something is wrong, Tom decides not to stay in the SUV for long. He drives into a crowded market and abandons it, quickly stealing an old Nissan pickup instead. Traffic slows them down, and the delay allows Farzad's men to close the distance. Kahil arrives on a motorcycle and alerts Farzad to his presence. As the chase tightens, Tom accidentally bumps into the car ahead of him, triggering an argument with the driver. He pays her off quickly, but he notices the armed men behind them and speeds away, causing chaos. Tom uses the opening to ram through roadside shops and break free from traffic. As Farzad's men regroup, Kahil plants an explosive on one of their vehicles. Farzad spots it, but before he can react, the bomb detonates, forcing the Iranian team to pull back. Kahil continues the pursuit alone. Moments later, Tom and Mo encounter a Taliban patrol on the road but manage to escape once again. Their luck runs out when a tire blows in the middle of the desert, forcing them to stop. While Tom keeps watch, Mo is told to change the tire. He refuses, demanding to know the truth about why they are being chased. Mo admits he only returned to Afghanistan to find his missing sister-in-law, not to be hunted across the desert. A sudden noise from a nearby ridge draws Tom's gun. but it turns out to be a young boy holding a toy. Mo tells the boy to drop it, and he runs off. When Tom picks up the toy, it detonates, confirming they are dealing with trained hunters. With no more room for lies, Tom admits he was responsible for destroying the Iranian nuclear facility and apologizes for putting Mo in danger. He promises to help find Mo's sister-in-law once they reach Kandahar. After the tire is fixed, Mo asks how they plan to get there. Tom explains that he has an old friend in Dalaram who might be able to help, possibly even with air transport. He sends the plan to Roman, who immediately starts making calls to set things in motion. As night falls, Tom drives using night vision goggles while Mo keeps watch. The desert is quiet until the sound of a helicopter cuts through the darkness. It belongs to Farzad. Gunfire rains down from above, and bullets tear into the front of the vehicle, rupturing the radiator and sending water splashing across the windshield. With visibility gone, Tom has Mo take the wheel while he leans out and fires back. The vehicle eventually grinds to a halt, forcing both of them to abandon it and take cover. Farzad's men are deployed on the ground and begin tracking them through the dark. Using his night vision, Tom moves ahead of them and takes the soldiers out one by one. To draw the helicopter back, he sends Mo running into the open as bait. When the helicopter circles around, Tom throws a grenade to distract the crew, then unloads his weapon into the aircraft. The helicopter crashes and explodes, killing Farzad and everyone on board. Elsewhere in Afghanistan, Roman is dropped off by a military jet at a remote location. Once the aircraft departs, he meets a group of armed fighters posing as ISIS. In reality, they are Afghan Special Forces commandos operating under CIA direction. Roman joins them, and they head out to locate Tom. Back in the desert, Tom and Mo continue on foot. Exhausted, they stop to rest, share food, and talk. Tom tells Mo about a former translator who survived multiple tours with him before being captured and executed. Mo opens up about his own past and the loss of his son during the war. By morning, they reach Dalaram, where armed men stop them and escort them to a camp belonging to Tom's old friend, Ismail. Ismail welcomes Tom warmly, but Mo's attitude shifts as soon as he realizes who Ismail is. Tom asks for a helicopter, but Ismail refuses, offering only a truck instead. He invites them to sit, eat, and talk. During the conversation, Mo reveals that Ismail was responsible for killing his son years earlier. Ismail responds by provoking Mo and even hands him a gun, daring him to take revenge. Tom steps in and tries to calm both men. In the end, Mo lowers the weapon and walks away, choosing not to kill him. Later, Mo confronts Tom and angrily blames him and the CIA for empowering men like Ismail, which allowed families like his to be destroyed. Despite the tension, they accept the truck, knowing they have no other way out. As soon as Tom and Mo leave the camp and head toward Kandahar, Ismail betrays them and secretly passes their location to Pakistani intelligence. With Tom and Mo back on the road, Pakistani intelligence quickly reacts. The director contacts Kahil and informs him of their exact route toward Kandahar. Kahil agrees to continue the pursuit but asks for a transfer once the operation is complete, a request his superior accepts. After the call, Kahil reaches out to Razul and passes along the updated location. Not long after, Razul's Taliban fighters ambush Tom and Mo. They are captured, beaten, and taken to a Taliban compound. Razul personally tortures Mo, accusing him of betraying his country by working with Americans. Before he can go any further, gunfire erupts outside the compound. One of Razul's men reports that they are under attack by ISIS. Razul and his fighters rush to defend the base, returning fire as the attackers push in. The attackers are heavily armed and begin overpowering the Taliban. Realizing they are losing ground, Razul contacts Kahil and demands air support. Kahil refuses and tells him to hold out until he arrives himself. As the firefight intensifies, the attackers break through the compound. Among them is Roman, fighting alongside commandos disguised as ISIS fighters. He cuts down Razul and his men, then moves inside the compound. Roman frees Tom, hands him a weapon, and the two move quickly to find Mo. They reach him just in time, and all three escape the compound in a truck while the battle continues behind them. As they flee, Kahil arrives and watches them leave. Studying the situation, he realizes the so-called ISIS attack was a cover for a CIA extraction. Convinced Tom will try to escape through an old CIA airbase, Kahil organizes another Taliban unit and sets out to intercept them before they can reach Kandahar. Tom, Roman, and Mo race toward Kandahar, knowing the pursuit is far from over. Kahil catches up and opens fire on their vehicle. During the exchange, Roman is hit and badly wounded. Realizing he will not survive, Roman orders Tom to keep driving. He jumps from the moving vehicle to slow Kahil down and give the others time to escape. As he lies dying, Roman recites the Shahida. The Taliban continue the chase and eventually disable the vehicle, forcing Tom and Mo out. Cahill confronts them directly, intent on claiming Tom for himself. A brutal firefight follows, and Tom is wounded but keeps fighting. He manages to severely injure Cahill, leaving him bleeding and unable to continue. As Taliban fighters close in, a CIA director orders an unauthorized missile strike on the pursuing vehicles.
What's our Reaper armed with?
GBUs and Hellfire, sir.
Text the pilot, do it now.
We don't have the authority.
Fuck the authority. They can fire me. I won't watch any more of our men die today.
The airstrike wipes out the remaining Taliban forces, clearing the way for extraction. Tom and Mo reach an old CIA airstrip, where a British military cargo plane carrying SAS operators is waiting. They board just in time, and the aircraft takes off, finally carrying them out of Afghanistan. In the aftermath, Luna is released from captivity and allowed to return home. Tom reunites with his daughter, grateful to be alive after everything he has survived. Mo also returns to his family, embracing them in silence, choosing not to share the full truth of what he endured. Well, that's the end of this story. How did you like this recap? Let me know in the comments below.